All right, building a startup in 500 days, day 227. So, pretty big call day. We had a market research call with a manager, which was actually pretty solid because I had been talking about before that a lot of these manager use cases, because all the processes are so different, are kind of all over the place. But this one was actually more similar to some of the earlier managers we talked with, more around accountability and transparency. And so I do think the tool in its current state could actually be somewhat valuable. So we sent the info, and so we'll see feedback there. Then also had an artist call, and then our weekly accountability strategy sesh with some artists who are on day to day. And then we also did some platform work, just fine tuning some things on the new app, the new build. I added your why back to the profile. We actually didn't have that, but in some of the very earlier videos, I was talking about how important I thought that was for the original platform. So wanted to bring it back in because it does actually make a lot of sense. In this, just kind of like your internal motivation. You could do anything else in the world. Why are you doing this? So important to have that down. And then tweak the mobile landing page a little bit to have sign up and log in when you first see it. And finally added the day-to-day logo to the landing page, which I've realized that it wasn't even on there. It was just like some font saying day-to-day. So at least now we have like the logo and the typeface. Overdue. Okay, now I'd say the biggest thing, this would actually happen last night, but I think I was honestly feeling a little bit, I guess, like lost. I would say I feel like I had kind of lost my North Star a little bit, because when I started this, the excitement for me was around process based thinking, thinking more about the long term, consistency, accountability, that kind of stuff. And then as of late, we've been talking about how the version that we want to build for artists that caters to that use case is just a little bit far out, but we were seeing some initial hype from managers, so maybe let's go that way. And so while it does feel like there is something there, I think I was just realizing this last night that it just doesn't get me as excited about building something for managers. It's definitely important, and I think we will still do these market research calls just to try to understand a little bit more about the use case. But I think at the end of the day, what gets me excited is that original idea that I started with. And not only does the manager use case not get me quite as excited, I just also am kind of lost on how to go about it, especially with all these market research calls. I mean, we haven't had a ton, but it just seems every use case is so different. You know, it's unclear, I guess, the path forward platform-wise versus the artist version. Like, I'm just so much closer to it, and the just the idea of staying consistent, data showing up day to day, process-based thinking, documenting your journey, like that's all stuff that I just do anyways, and I think about a lot and is important to me. So I feel like, so last night basically just kind of recalibrated and decided, I know we're going all over the place, but decided to just kind of like stick with that original mission, which has me feeling so much better. I feel like I've gotten my North Star back, and also this new build is just incredibly exciting still. I followed up with the BDK again. We need them to actually just finish this so that we can get it out. But yeah, it gets me really excited. I feel more confident with this new build, talking about it and actually being confident that the value of what I'm saying is delivered in the product. And it also gets me excited about just building a whole brand around this, because with the last one, a lot of it was guidance wise, but there was a little bit of imposter syndrome there, I guess you could say, because like I'm not an expert in the music industry, right? And so like if we were going to pitch guidance, it's a little tricky. But showing up every day, being consistent, like that's stuff that I love, and like I feel confident building a brand around. So yeah, it's just kind of like lit the fire a little bit again for me. So for anyone who's been watching this will be fun to look back on, but the past like 6 videos have all ended with like different strategies, but hopefully this feels more solid, and it feels like this North Star will stick for a while, where we will go back to prioritizing this new artist version, building this brand around day to day, around documenting your journey, around, showing up for the long term. And then potentially still do the manager calls as they arise, but not really putting a priority on that. Just really focus on this. So hopefully we'll get that app live. I mean, I guess maybe next week at this point, because I just want it to be in our hands and see how people think about it. And if, obviously, realistically, nothing crazy is going to happen with it, but ideally it just is a little bit easier to use, more simple, and potentially more valuable than our first kind of attempt at this issue, our first attempt at a solution for this issue. So we shall see. But yeah, feeling really pumped about everything. Yeah, following journey. Catch you all tomorrow.